today on Henry's How To's, I'm going to show you how to make a rich Cadbury chocolate cake. Let's get straight into it.
Alright guys, so just into a heat-proof bowl, I'm going to start by adding about 185 grams of butter. That's just unsalted butter that I've just cubed, just to make it easy to melt. Now as for the chocolate component, I'm going to use Cadbury Freddos. Now if you're using Freddos, you'll need 7 of them, so you'll need about 250 grams total. So any chocolate will do, but I love Cadbury the most. So all we're going to do is just break them into smaller pieces. If you got any kids watching this, be careful they don't get upset, because of course we're taking Freddo's head off. Alright guys, so next just into a saucepan, I've got some water that's at a gentle boil. Now what we're going to do is place this bowl with our chocolate and butter on top. Now be very careful the water doesn't touch the bowl. We'll just put that straight on. Now there's not much we need to do at this point, just let that all melt and combine together. So this entire process should only take around, say, 5 to 10 minutes. Alright, so you just want it to have a nice liquidy consistency like that. So all we need to do at this point is turn the heat off and just let that sit there. Alright, so next just into a big bowl we're going to add 3 whole eggs. And to this we're going to add 1 cup of sugar. And a tablespoon of vanilla essence. And we'll just go ahead and beat this on a high speed. Alright guys, so after about 2 minutes you should have a nice pale consistency like so. So at this point I'm going to add a 1/3 cup of cocoa powder. And at this point we're going to preheat our oven to 160 degrees Celsius so it's ready. Now guys, with our chocolate and butter mixture, I'm going to run the beater now, and while it's running I'm going to carefully and slowly add this in. Don't add it all at once. So we'll start carefully adding now. Just a bit at a time. Okay, how amazing does that look? You just want to eat it right now, don't you? So we'll get the remainder out of this bowl that's just stuck at the bottom, and we'll mix that through too. That's just beautiful. So guys, we won't need the beater anymore, so we'll get that out of the way. Feel free to lick the beaters if you want. Nothing wrong with that. Alright guys, so just in a bowl here I've got 1 cup and 3/4 of a cup of self-raising flour. Now what I'm going to do with this is gradually add it in. So we'll start with about 1 cup for now, and then we'll gradually add the rest in. Now what we're going to do is fold this through. We're not going to beat it at high speed, we're going to carefully fold it through, keep all that air inside. That way we're going to ensure we have a beautiful, fluffy, buttery cake. Now one of the best tools you can have in the kitchen is one of these rubber silicone spatulas. Because look how easily you can scrape the sides and fold everything through. Okay, so we'll add about another 1/4 cup at this stage. Okay, and we'll go ahead and add the rest of it in. So as I said, a total of 1 cup and 3/4 of a cup. So just under 2 cups of self-raising flour. Alright guys, so our cake batter is ready, and I don't know, there's just something so satisfying about it. Don't you reckon? Look at that. Alright, let's go ahead and move on. Alright, so we're going to need a 20 centimeter springform tin for this. Now what we're going to do is open this up. I'm just going to add a piece of baking paper in the middle, put this back on and tighten it up. Now I always do this because I had a bad experience one time. The cake batter came out, destroyed my oven, and it took hours and hours of cleaning. So what we're going to do now is just butter all the sides, or any type of grease. We'll butter the bottom as well. Keep some extra butter is always good. Butter makes everything taste better. Alright, so let's go ahead and pour all of our batter in. So by this point your oven should be preheated, so we're going to set the temperature to 160 degrees Celsius. We're going to put this in, we're going to bake it at a low heat. We're going to leave it in there for about 90 minutes altogether, so about 1.5 hours. Alright guys, so it's been 1.5 hours, I've just taken it out of the oven. It's nice and firm. If you are in real doubt, just put a skewer or a knife through and make sure it's not liquid. So guys, there's nothing we need to do at this point. Leave it alone, let it rest. Don't go opening the tin up, because then it's just going to collapse and break apart. We don't want that. We need this to be perfect. So leave it alone. Once it cools down, we'll get the frosting, and then we can serve it after that. Alright guys, so after letting it rest, we'll carefully loosen the spring form. And we'll take it off. And just have a look at that. Got a nice, beautiful, thick layer there. That looks absolutely beautiful. So we'll spread open our baking paper, because we're going to go ahead and frost this now. So guys, what I like to do is, using a very sharp knife, just go over the edge like this, just to make sure it's all sort of smooth and level. Now you don't have to do this, but because I serve it in the restaurant, I like to make sure it's perfect. And don't go throwing these off cuts out. It's perfect to snack on. Or if you want, you can mix it with some ice cream, and that's perfect. Alright guys, so once you've done that, what we're going to do is flip it over. And how beautiful is that? And of course we're going to be working on the top side. Alright guys, so what I'm going to do is get a fresh sheet of baking paper, and we'll place our cake upside down on it. This will just make it easier to work with. Alright guys, so just in a saucepan here, I've got some water at a gentle boil. We're going to place a heat-proof bowl on top. Make sure the bowl's not going to touch the water though. Now into our bowl, I'm going to add some dark chocolate, and of course I'm going to use Cadbury baking dark chocolate for this. Now this is a 180 gram block, that'll work perfectly for this recipe. So we're just going to break it up in there. Don't just throw the whole block in, because it'll just take longer. And I'm also going to add in about 30 grams of unsalted butter. So we're just going to let that melt. So it should only take probably, say, 5 minutes. Alright guys, so that's what you want. You want a nice smooth consistency. You want to make sure there's no lumps in there. So it doesn't need to be completely liquefied. So once you're 100% there's no lumps, what we're going to do is move on to our cake and start frosting it. Alright guys, so we're just going to go ahead and pour this straight on top. Get all that goodness out. And just using a spoon, just going to spread it all over, but try to do it evenly, so we get an even coverage. Now once the top's nicely evenly covered, we're going to slowly start pouring it towards the sides. Just like that. And we'll just start carefully running it along the sides, and we'll try to get it evenly, perfectly covered. So as the chocolate will thicken up very quickly, so if you find that your spoon or your knife or whatever you're using is getting sort of stuck, just run it under hot water, wipe it, and then continue. Alright guys, that's all there is to it. Now feel free to lick this spoon, you don't want to waste any of that chocolate. So all we need to do now is let this rest, let it completely cool down. A bit more will run along the sides, and that's completely fine. We want the sides to be nice and covered too. Now if there's any other decorations you want to do, now is the time. Because while the chocolate's warm, whatever you add will sort of stick to the cake. So I don't know, if you want to add some sprinkles, some biscuit crumbs, you want to do some extra frosting, you want to do some patterns on it, whatever you want to do, now's the time. If not, just let it cool down to room temperature before you slice into it, or you can put it into the fridge if you want to speed it up. Alright guys, so I've given that a lot of time to harden, and there we go. It's looking beautiful. So what we're going to do is take this off the paper to make it more presentable. Now the cake itself should be nice and stable, so you should be able to just pick it up like that and place it onto your base. So guys, I'm going to serve it as is, nice, simple. I like a cake that's just simple. I don't like when there's all cream and fruit and bits and pieces like that around it. I just want to be able to taste the cake. Now if you're going to serve this for a dinner party or something, just make a simple buttercream and pipe it all around the edge like that, and instantly it will change. Now when it comes to serving, what I also like to do is actually using a knife, score out all the cake slices. That way we get even slices. Or else, especially in the restaurant, I have a lot of time where the staff will cut, like for example through here, then your entire cake is destroyed, you'll get uneven slices. So just now, we're just going to go all the way through like that. So guys, you can leave it like that if you like and get 4 decent slices out of it. But of course, we don't want to do that. So I'm going to do each of these into thirds, like that. So you just got to estimate it and try and get it as close as you can. So I've been doing this for a long time, so I've sort of gotten a habit of how to get it accurate each time. That's like that. And you know what, scoring it like that also makes it look nicer. So here's the moment of truth. We'll wipe our knife and then we'll go straight through. And look at that, what a clean cut. We'll wipe the knife again and go ahead and take one slice out. And just seriously look at that. How beautiful is that?
Alright guys, and that was my take on a rich Cadbury chocolate cake. One of my favourite cakes of course is chocolate. Nice and simple just like that, nothing special to it. So the cake is still very nice and moist. And the frosting is just amazing. You can never have too much chocolate. So as for storage, you can keep this at room temperature for about a week. Just make sure it's covered. You can put it in the refrigerator and make it last a bit longer, or you can freeze it. You can also warm it up before you serve it and it'll be absolutely amazing. I hope you like that guys. Please like, share and subscribe. You can also follow me on Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram and TikTok. If you've got any comments or suggestions, just leave them at the bottom and I'll see you all next time.